Hello, happy Friday. We have another class today,
And
and
it's
I'm really excited.
embroidering.
Embroider. Have you ever tried embroidery?
Yep.
I
Are
have
you
not.
new? Yeah.
Yesterday was my first day.
I've embroidered for a long time. I used
Yes.
to embroider a ton.
So
I
we
don't
have
do it
the
too much.
expert and the beginner
Yeah, I
beginner.
don't do it too much now, but I mean, it's one of those things I feel like you can easily pick up after not doing it for a long time.
Sure.
And it has a lot of uses.
Yeah.
Um, like I know there's scrapbookers out there who wanna embroider on their layouts. That you could
Mm-hmm.
easily do all of these stitches on a layout
Or
or
card,
card or just paper
art
in
journal,
general.
or get a nifty little hoop like this.
Yeah. Or you can do it like on clothing or your
Mm.
totes
Oh, like
or
pockets. Have you seen that? Like bean
yeah,
pockets? Isn't
yeah,
that cute?
yeah. It's super cute.
It just looks really hard.
It looks harder than what I
Yeah.
think it is.
Okay.
We'll be showing like this is a very beginner friendly
Very beginner
class.
friendly.
Um,
I need that.
and then we'll show a variety of different stitches. Um, we're working with this flower looking design. We got this design from the DMC website, which has a lot of floss and um, supplies that we have in the shop.
Yeah.
So
So we'll just kind of take you through the step-by-step process and then show you some
show you
different
some
stitches.
stitches.
So in the shop we have these cute little packs that like it has the fabric already in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really nice.
It's
You don't
just
have to go
good
out
to
and find
go.
fabric.
Go get fabric and then go get your hoop. It's all measured, all set in there.
Yeah. Isn't
So
that cute?
that's what we're using today.
So it comes in this like tannish color and also it comes in a white. And then we found when we were trying to trace on our design, the white works better.
Yeah, you can just see it through the
Yeah.
fabric a little bit easier. If you did want to use this, there's also it's called magic paper,
Mm.
and so you just print it out and then get it on your page, and you can work with any color fabric that way. But for us, we wanted to trace it, so we were tracing using this pen. It's a water erasable pen, so as soon as you get it a little wet, the ink just comes right off.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Magic.
Yep.
Okay, so then we printed out our what do you call this?
Our pattern.
Our pattern.
Yep.
Design.
Yep.
I don't know. And that's what it looks like with like
With all of it finished.
Yeah.
And how they decided to color it.
And then here it is with no color.
Like the traceable version.
So what you're gonna do first is take your hoop. I this is what I started yesterday, but I'm gonna show you how I traced it. Take your hoop and you're gonna loosen this little guy. What is this called? Is there a special name?
I don't know.
I don't know any embroidery
I
terms.
just call the whole thing the hoop.
The hoop.
The embroidery hoop.
Loosen this on top.
And we have all of the list of products that we're using today, as well as this pattern on our classes page.
Yeah.
Which is linked in the description.
And there are different size like hoops and stuff, but like this one that comes with the fabric is a 6-inch.
Mm-hmm.
But you
so
can
it's
buy
a
these
nice
separately.
It's a nice starting size. And this is a denser pattern. You can find easier patterns. I chose this one specifically because it had a lot of different types of stitches we could practice with.
And we were just feeling florals.
Yeah.
We're just feeling it.
It's nice out, so...
want some florals.
We want some florals.
So you take it out of the hoop, and then you just put this down where you want it. I'm going to kind of line mine up how I had it before. And it doesn't need to be exact. Like, you see, we just did like little dots for those berries.
Yeah, we didn't look exactly where each thing was. Just some dots around there. Because it's hard to get it the exact same, I'd kind of go back and forth from like flipping up the fabric and looking at it to setting it back down and then drawing a bit more.
Yeah. So then I just kind of use some washi tape. As you can see here, it's all coming up. Just to stick it down. There's my needle right there, but I don't feel like moving it right now. And then if I hold it down, I can see very faintly the design underneath. So I take the magic pen, and I'm just going to add some more of these long stems. What is that right there? Yeah, more leaves.
Yeah, it's easy.
And stems.
It's nice to be able to flip up your paper or your fabric to look underneath just to make sure you're following the design the right way. You can also make up your own design if you like drawing or yeah, follow whatever
What are
pattern.
those? They're like, is that
Those
a different stitch?
these?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You did circles or
it's
like down.
the little French knots.
Okay.
So we'll start with just like your basics. What do you need? You need a needle. You can use an embroidery needle or a tapestry needle. Um, Usually embroidery needle would be good. You have for a tapestry needle, that's what we're using today. So the eye is a little bit bigger and it's a little easier to thread, but it has more of a blunt end.
Mm.
So yeah, you can try a couple different needles and see what works best for you. And then you need some floss. If this is your first time embroidering, I'd just get a pack of it because you'll need quite a range of colors. This is one of the like variegated packs, which I thought would be nice for flowers.
Yeah. So it has different shades.
Yeah, all in there.
You have to keep switching colors. Okay, so I'm not gonna do this whole thing like Just did because it's a
It takes
lot.
a little bit.
I'm just gonna kind of add a couple more leaves. And again, it doesn't have to be exact.
And then for the floss, each strand actually has 6 individual strands inside of it. So, depending on how thick you want your pieces to work with, you can take them apart. So I'd usually cut your piece to whatever length you want it, and then I'll start in the middle, and you can just start peeling apart, and let's see if you can see the 6 strands. But so if I want to work with 2 of them or 3 of them, or if I just want to add some smaller details, I can just work with 1 of them. A lot of times I just stick with 6, and then I'll grab like I'll do them in half if I want to add some details or something.
Okay.
But yeah, you just pull them apart.
Yesterday I don't think I pulled any apart.
No.
I just left them.
Yeah.
Hi Julie. Used to do embroidery and counted cross stitch. Cool. I don't know what counted cross stitch is.
I don't know the counted. I know cross stitch.
Okay.
Or maybe it's more like with a pattern. Maybe. I don't know.
So I'm gonna put this guy back in my hoop. And try to kind of, whoop, that's not the way it goes. Let's try to center it as best I can.
So some of the different stitches we'll be learning today. There's this stitch that I used with this brown. That's our most basic stitch. That's the one we'll start out with. Then we'll move to maybe a satin stitch, which I did on these petals. We have a stem stitch, which I don't know how well you can see everything, but that's this long stem. The French knot, which creates these little balls.
That's the one I'm nervous about.
That one's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
I love how the little balls look. I think
it's cute,
so
but
nice.
I feel like I can't do it.
And then we also have a chain stitch, which I don't have on here yet.
Okay.
But yeah.
So this is my very first time yesterday. Jess was showing me the different stitches. So I only have like 2 on here. But once you get going, it's not that bad.
Yeah, like, that's what I was saying. It's
not as hard. Yeah, I guess.
And I think it's something that you can pick up. Like we're comparing it to crocheting, where with crocheting, if you don't do it for a while, it's likely you'll forget it. This I feel like you could drop for a bit and then pick it back up. So I'm going to start with this brown, and I'm going to split it because this is the color I'm using for my smaller sticks. So I'm going to split it in half and only use 3, so I don't have as thick. And then I'm going to thread my needle.
I'm going to drink some more coffee.
thread my needle,
You did that so fast.
and I didn't even have to lick it. And so I'll have my tail a little bit shorter than my working piece. And I'll give this a knot on the end. And let me know if you guys want to see something again, or if I went too fast with something. So I just have a little bit of knot on this end. And I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to do this big stick here. So I'm going to start at the bottom. I can kind of see where my needle is, like it's just staring at the front of my embroidery piece. And then I'm going to trace it all the way down to where I want my stitches to start. And I'll pull it through all the way, and it gets caught on the knot. And now you kind of determine how long you want each of your stitches to be. I usually go about this length, so I'm just going to stick it in here and go back in. So there's my first stitch. Now I'm going to, again, find my needle and move up about the same amount that my first stitch is, because you want all your stitches to be about the same length if you can help it. And pull it through and go back in to where I had this first stitch. And then there's my second stitch. And then I'll just keep repeating this over and over until I'm at the top of this stick. So that's our most basic stitch. It's just in and out, and you're just going straight. You can kind of make curves or some sharp angles using this stitch. If you're new to embroidery, I'd say just grab a piece of fabric and a hoop, or you can even grab a piece of paper and just test these stitches out there. It doesn't have to be a finished piece. You don't have to have a whole design laid out like this. First, you just want to practice your stitches and see how they look.
I'm going to thread my needle, so that's going to take a minute. I think we should have better needles.
And that is the tapestry needle with the bigger...
This one is?
With the bigger eye, yeah.
Nice. Clint's asking what's your largest project you've done.
When I was 12, I wanted to embroider a 12 by 12 square of each of the 12 states, or 50 states, flowers, like state flower. So I know I did quite a few of the states, and I got a few of the blocks done, and then I was going to quilt them.
Very ambitious.
Yeah, I worked on that project for years.
Wow.
I never finished it though.
Well, maybe you can go back now. And do you
still
have it?
I still have it all.
Okay.
And I spent a lot of time on it. But like I said, I was 12. It's not my best work. I don't want to spend a ton more hours on it. So, yeah, but that's my biggest project, I would say.
Okay.
And then, I mean, I've done little things like embroider some jeans or a pocket or things like that. Napkins.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
I have some Christmas napkins I embroidered with the scissors. All right, and then I just so I finished. I was talking while I finished, but I finished this up, my little stick here, and then I knotted it in the back, and then I can cut this off. So usually when I still have some of this on my needle, I'll just fill in more things with that color. A lot of times I'll just start with one color and do the whole thing across it, move on to the next color, do the whole thing across it. But because that would take a while, We're gonna move on to the next color and the next stitch.
Clint, I should do one for each of the kids. Do what?
Um,
A hoop?
a hoop?
A
Oh, like I've
project?
seen like you can do
Or like a letter?
their letter,
Oh,
their
that'd be
name,
cute.
and I've seen like little flowers in there and like the one letter.
But that seems very
It
ambitious. I
is.
can barely do a flower. I got some stems. What are you doing next?
So next stitch, which I think is the second easiest stitch, but it might not be. From here, the stitches get a little bit harder, but I'm going to the satin stitch next because I feel like it's pretty similar where we're doing just this in and out. It's just instead of going in a line, we're stacking them next to each other. So I'm going to do this butterfly up here in the satin stitch.
So are you still doing your 6 strands or are you
Yep,
going...
yep. So this time I'm just going with the 6. When I do a satin stitch, I almost always go with 6 because it fills in the area quicker.
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, if you want a more delicate looking piece, you can do less. I think this pattern actually recommended using just 4 strands,
Oh, okay.
but I've been using 6 for most of them, other than a few items or
Why
elements
can
on
I
here.
not thread this needle today?
So I'm going to work on this wing of this butterfly. I'm going to start at the bottom here. And with the satin stitch, like I said, I'm just doing this in and out. They're just stacked next to each other. So I went in, and then I'm going to this end over here. Going back out. And now I'm going to go back to this side. So coming back from the back side, and I want this to go in pretty closely to my previous stitch. And I'm going to take it back out closer to this side stitch. And as this area gets bigger, I'm just tracing this line to make it get bigger as I go back. That makes sense?
No.
See how they're stacking up
Oh,
next to each other? So this is good for if you want to like color in a whole area.
Oh.
And then you can also add more details on top of this.
How do you
So
do that?
I'll show that with these leaves down here.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get there.
Meanwhile, I'm just here trying to thread a needle.
So like these little dots of the butterfly that I'm covering up, I can still go back on top of them and show them again.
No. Well, I got 4 strands.
Yeah, I like the satin
Yeah.
stitch.
I feel like it's faster too to cut
Yeah, it's a bit bolder of a stitch. So now I'm kind of getting it to where this side is a lot longer than this side. So over here I just have here to here, where here I have here to here. So I'm going to straighten this stitch out a bit, and it's not going right next to my previous stitch, but I'm going to fill that in. So I've got a little gap there now. So I'm going to come in right here, still next to the stitch, just on the other side. And fill it in. Like so. So, yeah, you can, there's really not any rules. And if you don't like the stitch you just did, just take your needle off of the thread and redo it. You can take it out
Just
and
pull it
redo
out.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fill this in a little bit more because I still have a little gap right there.
I like the orange for the
Yeah.
butterfly. Just makes it pop.
Yeah, so I mean, this isn't the same colors that the pattern used, but yeah, I didn't go.
Do whatever
I'm
color you
not
want.
good with following
Yeah.
patterns. Anyways, my mom always says I just like to go rogue.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think it's more fun.
Yeah.
Have like a starting point, but
Mhm.
go off it.
Yep. Or like in a art class or something, you just take inspiration from
Mhm.
something. But yeah, I don't know exactly. Okay, so there's
Nice.
my first what is it? Wing.
Wing. Yeah.
I for the top part, I kind of want it to be the lighter orange. So I think I'm gonna knot this off, and then I might switch over to the lighter orange shade, just so you can see a little bit of the difference between the two wings.
So I was gonna try satin stitch for, I guess maybe another leaf or like stem.
So you
Or
wouldn't
should I
do
do?
satin stitch for stem because then it would
Isn't
just
that
get
what that is?
thick.
What is that?
That's the what is that? That's the stem stitch.
Guys, I cannot keep these straight. So satin stitch you only use
To
fill
fill in,
something in.
yep, to fill in a bigger area. Yep.
So will I not use that because I don't have a butterfly?
I also used it on these little flowers. So they're just the stitches stacked up next to each other. Some of them get a little longer, some of them get a little shorter, and then it creates the flower.
Huh.
Let me finish this butterfly real quick.
Okay.
But yeah, at least on this pattern, the only place where you use the satin stitch is on the butterfly and on these little daisies.
I don't know. You guys have any questions yet about the stitches that we showed you? How many were we showing today? Like 5?
5, I think.
5
Maybe
stitches.
6.
Maybe 6.
Yeah, we'll see.
I like that lighter on top. That looks
Yeah.
nice.
That's what's nice with working with the thread that has the multiple colors in there. You can really work with it.
Great for flowers too.
Yeah.
Because flowers are not just one
No.
color. It's,
No.
a
And
bunch of shades.
it kind of gives you some shading.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen even people will create like a whole landscape just using the satin stitch so it looks like a painting.
Wow.
Like the whole piece is covered.
Wow.
These are crazy. Okay, there. That's good.
I like that. Can you guys see that okay? Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Look at your back compared to my back. I was jumping all around. Well, you said I could do that.
Yeah, well,
So,
a little.
if you're doing
So
a bunch of like stems right next to each other, instead of like cutting it and tying off every time,
it makes you
might as well just do
Grandma
it together.
was actually who taught me embroidery.
Yeah.
She saw that she would make you take it out. She would
But
make.
no one looks at the back, right?
She would still. She'd be like, no, no, no. Mm-mm. She didn't even cause yeah, I jumped around a little bit here.
Yeah.
Grandma, and that wouldn't go by grandma.
She would just
knot it up there.
So it looks neater.
Yep. So both sides are neat, at least a little flatter.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do our stem stitch next.
Yes.
So, this is the stem color I was using. So still I'm going to work with the 6 strands. When I cut a piece, you don't want it to be like unruly and super long. I go about this length. Is it about 2 feet maybe?
Okay.
2 feet. I mean, you can do it longer. It's just it gets a little
Yeah.
trickier to work with. And getting this threaded.
So I'm gonna start on a different stem. I think I started that as a stem stitch,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a different color now, so
Starting a different
I'm
one.
just gonna start a different stem here. Maybe that one.
Right. Okay, so I got mine knotted, all threaded, and let's see. I'll go with this one again. So I'm gonna do this flower and starting on the bottom. So in we go. And now I'm going to go the distance of two, like 2 stitches. So you think of our previous stitch we did on these little sticks over here. So I'm going to go the distance of 2 of those. And push it in. And I'm not going to pull this through all the way. I'm going to use my thumb to stop it about here. And then I'm going to find my needle and put it right in between those 2 stitches.
You're coming up from the back.
I'm coming up from the back and coming in between the 2 stitches. I held this to the side so you're not piercing your floss, but it's just nice to the side over there.
And then you pull that tight.
And then you pull that tight. And now again, we'll go the same length, the length of 2 stitches. So add another stitch from this point.
You pull this knot all the way
And
through.
not all the way through. I'm still holding it with my thumb. And coming up on this stitch here in the center.
In the middle, come through, and pull that one tight. Okay. Nice. Look at my little stem going.
Then you'd keep going with that all the way up. My tip for this stitch is the direction that your stem is curving is the direction, or like the side where you want to hold your little extra piece. So this flower is curving a little bit to this direction, to the left. So I'm holding this piece to the right. So
And I'm holding mine to the left.
so that my curve can make a nice curve this way. Where with this one, I did it the opposite. I'm curving to the right, so I held my extra pieces over to the left side.
Look at my stem. How neat is that? Oh, wait. I always want to start from the back. But when you start from the top, right?
Oh, you're not. Mm-mm.
What?
Mm-mm.
I did what you did,
No.
right?
No. Do you see how yours looks?
Yeah.
And it doesn't look the same?
Sure it does.
So instead of coming up through this stitch, you made a new stitch. So you're going the length of like 3 stitches and then leaving a big empty space. I mean, it's okay. It's just not this stitch. It's a made up stitch. But I mean, there's not really any rules.
No rules.
If you like it, just keep going with it.
So I just went too far?
Yeah, so look, I go in here and then I'm coming up in this previous stitch. I'm not making a new stitch.
I thought you said to come up through the middle.
Yep, that is the middle. Of here to here.
Oh.
Coming up right there.
Well, you're coming up on your previous stitch.
Yep. Yeah, so you're using the same hole that we just used.
Okay, guys, I hope you're not following me. Follow Jessica.
I should have looked over there sooner.
I thought I was doing
I figured, I know, because I was showing you yesterday and you got it.
I lost all my knowledge from yesterday. Okay, and then they come. I was making, yeah, new stitches every time.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is right? I'm coming through that,
Yep.
and that's what I'm pulling tight.
Yep.
Okay, I see that. Yeah, that looks tighter. If you look at my previous, you can see this looks tighter and neater. This was a little bit rogue.
So now I'm coming to the end of this, so I don't want to come up in on this one again. So I'm just going to pull it straight. And that's what you do like if you want to turn. So these little ones up here, I would, if I'd come up through there, I would have this random piece going through it. So I just wanted to stop it there. And then I'll show a couple of these. So maybe I'll do a little satin stitch on these little leaves here first while I'm here. I'll do the leaves, and this is the same way I did the petals. You just make a few these little petals down here.
Okay.
A few stitches just right next to each other.
So how would I want to do like this little?
I would go back. Well, so then I wouldn't have come back up. I would have come back up over here and gone over.
Well, maybe I'll just go longer again.
Yeah, you could do one longer and then don't come back in.
Okay. I'll go up another. But don't come back up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just pulling this tight.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna come back up for this little. Would you start at the base of this little joint or here?
I'd start at the base.
Okay.
Just because it's closer to where your needle currently is. Okay, so now to do these little pieces coming off, I'm going to do the same thing and think about each step so this piece is curving to the left. So that's the direction I want to hold my piece. Then I'll come up in the middle of those two, pull it tight. If I wanted to, I could or I would make like tie this piece off and then do these little pieces with just 3 strands.
Oh.
So this would look a little finer up here than the stem. But I don't really want to mess with all that right now. Yeah, so that's the stem stitch. I'll tie it later. Okay, and now the stitch. Let's see, which stitch?
I want to do that flower one.
The flower? Oh, the French, the French knot.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you're ready for the French knot.
No, I'm not, but
I'm gonna go with this purple. Like I said, the French knot is my favorite.
It really looks really cool. I just hope I can do it. I'm gonna tie this off.
So I got my piece.
Okay. I really like well, I like the purple. I think I'm gonna go pink. Oop. It's nice pink. Are you doing six threads?
Yep. Okay. So for your French knot, like most of the things, we'll start from the back.
Wait.
I'll show it a few times.
I'm still threading my needle. I actually got it a lot faster that time.
And then we're going to take this and we're going to knot it around your, well, you don't really knot it, but it creates a knot.
Okay.
So I'm going to wrap this around. You can wrap it around once. So these smaller yellow knots, I only wrapped around once. These bigger off-white ones, I wrapped around 3 times. And I'm thinking for these flowers, I'm going to wrap it around twice. So, wrap it around my needle twice. And now I'm going to stick my needle back into the same exact hole that I came from. And I want this to be nice and taut as I am putting the needle through here. So I'm holding this off to the side. And there, it creates the little knot. So, show again. Pull it up. I'm going to wrap this one around the needle twice. And then stick the needle back in the same hole that we came from. Hold the thread taut, and in goes the needle.
You make it look so easy. Okay. Let's try this. So you're going in from the bottom?
Yeah.
You wrap it twice?
Yeah.
Is that one?
Twice?
Is that twice?
Yeah.
And then you go back through the same
Back
hole?
through the same hole. Before you let your needle go all the way through, make sure that this is tight.
Which is tight?
The one that is wrapped around your needle.
Okay.
And then you want to hold that off, hold it to the side as it's getting started. And then you should be able to pull it through all the way. And I'm wrapping towards the tip of the needle.
Oh.
So.
Like under?
Going up. Nope. If it doesn't work, it's not that big of a deal because you're going in the same hole that you came out of, so it just disappears. So
Alright,
I've got it here. I'm wrapping it around the needle twice.
Oh, wait, you have this in this hand. Wrapping this around twice.
Yeah, and now I'll stick it back in the same hole. And before my needle is in too far, I get all of this tight and neat. That's where I think you're losing it.
Yep.
So don't put your needle all the way through yet until everything's all tight and you're ready to go.
Well, I don't know what I just did. What is this? I made a loop.
It just got caught. Well, you made a knot.
I made a knot. Not the right knot, but...
Yeah, that's just a knot. So I would just cut it out and make a new knot for your back piece. That wasn't French. That was just regular knot.
That was just a regular knot.
Regular knot. We're going for French.
French. We.
Mhm. I do think out of all of the stitches today, French knot can probably be the most tricky. But like I said, I think it's also the coolest.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
think it's worth learning.
Going through the bottom.
Yeah.
Holding my work. Is this called my working string? I
Yeah.
have no idea. Making
Yeah.
these turns. And then I take this and I wrap. Which way?
Also, I think your string's too long.
Oh.
Um, shorter string makes this a bit. Yeah, that's not 2 feet.
What?
That's not 2 feet long.
Sure
Remember what I
it
was
is.
saying? It's there. Okay.
Sure it is.
That's okay. You don't want too long of one because that's just going to make things more complicated for you.
Don't want that.
Okay. So that'll be a little easier.
Okay.
It's still a little long.
So I went
It's a
it
bit
up
better.
through the bottom.
So we're up through the bottom
Back.
and I'm gonna wrap this around our needle twice
Twice.
and stick it in the hole we came from. Don't push your needle in all the way. Yep, and now you'll tighten this string here.
Tighten this.
Yep. And then now you can pull it through. You want it tight around the base of your needle before you pull it
When
through.
do you let go of this part?
Just as it starts moving out of your hand. There.
I did it! You guys, look at my little French knot. Oh! That was my problem. I wasn't,
Making it tight
well, I
at the
was pushing the
base.
needle through all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to get it all lined up before you push it through all the way.
Okay. So, again, coming up through the back. Holding it over here. Wrapping around twice. Whoops, that twice. Going back in the same hole. Pulling this tight before.
Or letting it go.
Ah, look at me. I am embroidering flowers. Aren't those cute?
That's cute.
Those are the
Yeah.
cutest little flowers.
Yeah. And it looks like a little rose or something. Like it looks like a little flower.
Yeah. Or
And
like it could be like a berry too.
yeah, it's a perfect berry. And it adds a little bit of texture.
Mm.
Like it's a different type of texture, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, it's a good stitch. And like I said, you can wrap it around once for a little dot, wrap it
Oh.
around 3, 5 times
For a
for
bigger,
a
okay.
bigger one.
Okay. Look at my little 3 right there. Aren't those cute? I'm so proud of myself. Like it actually looks like a little flower.
Yeah,
And then how close can you put them together?
you can put
Can
them
I
pretty
pause?
close.
Okay.
Yep.
'Cause maybe I want some closer or some further away, depending on what I'm doing. And I feel like this is the part where you can really kind of go your own way. You know, you don't have to follow that pattern exactly, but at least you kind of know the general area where you want your flowers. So that's helpful. Oh, I like that. Okay. I'm going to try making a bigger one.
You like wrap it around 3,
3?
4.
4? I don't know. Possibilities are endless. Okay. I'll do 4. Let's see
Okay.
what 4 looks like. Tighten that before pulling the needle through. Ooh, okay.
So see, it's just
Look at my 4
same type
compared
of
to
thing, just a little bit bigger.
those. Those are 2s, that's a 4. So if you want to cover more ground faster, you could do bigger ones.
Yep. Um, and or if you wanted just little ones, you could even take out like only work with a couple of the strands.
Oh, yep.
Just for like little dots here or there. All right. Maybe I'll add a couple more. And you can also see with the different the color the thread or the floss that changes colors. You get a bunch of different color of the dots.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it looks like lavender.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. So.
I like it. I just messed up this one, but that's okay. Let's go here. Alright, so we did the stem stitch, satin stitch, French knot. What's next?
Next, let's do fishbone.
Fishbone.
So that is what I used for these leaves.
Ooh.
So it creates this cool like seam in the center, which is perfect for leaves.
Right.
It's similar to the satin stitch where we're stacking stitches right next to each other, but it's a little bit different in the pattern we're doing that.
Okay.
So, thread your needle again.
I'm still trying to finish my flower.
And again, I'm using all 6 strands of the floss. And I'll do this one over here. So I'm going to start at the tip of the leaf. Going in at the tip of the leaf, going through. And I'm going to go down about a little bit bigger than 1 stitch length. It's about that far. And now I'll start on the right side. You can start on the right or the left. But I'm following this outline of my leaf and going right next to it. Same as we did with the satin stitch, lining them all up. Just instead of going right next to this side of the stitch, I'm actually crossing over it. So I started on this right side of this first stitch that I started, and I'm going in on the left side. So I crossed right over it. Now I'm going to go on the left side of my first stitch, go up, and cross over to the right side. So I'm making they're like miniature X's almost.
Oh.
And I'm going to keep going back and forth from side to side. So now going back to the right side. And switching it over to the bottom of the left side.
Okay, so how do I start again? I came up through the top.
You'll start at the top, yep,
Yep.
and then go straight down, yep, about a stitch length. Be a little bit longer than stitch length.
And pull it all the way tight?
And pull it all the way tight.
Okay.
And then you start like how you would with a satin stitch. So go right next to your first stitch. You can pick either your right or your left side. And then because you went in on the right side of that stitch, you're gonna go back out through the left side.
Over here?
Yep, right next to the bottom of your first stitch.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And now you'll go to the left side.
This up here?
Yep. And then you'll cross over onto the right side. So you're not lining it up with the leaf, you're going down here.
Oh. I find this one to be trickier.
Yeah. So I have that stem that goes up to the center. I want to make sure I at least cross over that stem each time.
Okay, so now I'm doing it again. I just start over to
Yep.
the right.
Yep. Then you just cross over.
Cross over to like the bottom left.
Yep.
Okay. And then come up top right.
Nope.
No.
Then you would come up to the top left. So you're going from left to right. To left to right, to left to right.
And then I would. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I find that's one trickier. This didn't seem right.
Well, that has more to do with like technically you're doing the steps right, but your stitches are just kind of all over the place. So like you want to follow your traced line where you're a little bit off of it. And you want to kind of work facing it down a little bit more. So instead of just going across each time, I'm pointing it down a bit. Because I want it to have that, like a little V shape.
Oh, that makes more sense, yeah. And then making little V's.
And each part of the V crosses over the other, so I can draw it out. So here's my first stitch. My second one I'll start, oh here, I'll make a little leaf shape first. So here's my leaf. My second stitch I'll start here and go over top of this first stitch. My next one I'll go here and go over top of that stitch. Then I'll move down, go back over here, and cross over. Then come up over here, cross over. So they keep crossing over like this. And then when you get to your end, just kind of like that. Does that make a little more sense?
A little bit.
So I'm getting to my end here. Might need a couple more stitches. And you just really want to follow your original leaf shape. make sure you're following that, otherwise it's not going to look right.
Wow. Your leaves look amazing. Look at that compared to this.
See, you're kind of going just a satin stitch.
Yep.
You need to have more of a V to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, should we
Well,
move on to
what else?
our last stitch? Or chain stitch.
Chain stitch. Okay.
Let's see, what do I want to have a chain stitch? I'll do this big one right here. Color. We'll do this green. That's the scissors.
So, a chain stitch would be good for like a stem or a...
Yep, a stem. Yep, would be good. You could make like tiny leaves. Like they'd be small, but
Okay.
you could. This is one I see on scrapbook layouts a lot.
Oh, okay.
If you're here for the scrapbook. It looks like a little like braid almost.
Oh.
Okay. So, coming in at the bottom here. This one is pretty similar to our stem stitch. Where we're going to hold a piece of our thread, so we're not threading it back through all the way. So I went in, and now I want to go out the same exact hole. But you need to hold a little piece of it, so otherwise your stitch would just go all the way back in and you'd end up with no stitch. So, pulling it through. So I'm leaving this little loop. And now I want to go about a regular stitch distance back up, and I want to go through this loop. Through the loop. And then now I can pull it tight. So this makes a little bit thicker stitch. So pull it through, pull it tight, and then you repeat it. So I want to go back in the same hole I just came out of, but I am holding a little piece of this.
I'm going back through this hole?
Yep. But I'm holding a little piece of it, so then when I come up, I can come up through my loop. Go in. Holding my loop. Oh, I didn't even do it. I made a new stitch instead of going in my same stitch.
Don't pull a Rachel.
Oh.
That looks like... I think that looks right.
Yeah, your thread's a little sloppy, but for the most part,
I'm a beginner.
For the most part, yeah.
I'm kidding. Okay. Oh, Lisa used to embroider many years ago. Okay. Do you do any now, Lisa? Or did you stop?
I think it's one of those things where it's kind of nice to just know.
Yeah.
And I feel like every once in a while a thing will come up like, oh, I want to embroider just like a little something on that.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Comes in handy.
Yeah.
This is one of my my goals for this year.
To learn how to embroider? So are you going to finish this hoop? It's your goal.
Well,
it's your
I didn't say I was going to
goal.
finish anything. I said I wanted to learn how to embroider.
Oh. Well, I mean, so you learned, right?
I did learn.
So is that the end?
No.
So then you gotta finish your hoop.
I do like this hoop. I
It
like
is cute.
flowers
Yeah.
and yeah. Oh, I lost my came off. But yeah, like once you get going,
Yeah.
it's
I
not
mean,
that bad.
we did show a lot of stitches today, but yeah, you can do a lot even with the first single stitch. Um yeah, that's a pretty simple easygoing stitch. Okay, so to end this, I came back up through this loop and I don't want to make a little hoop again. Because you could just keep going and going and going. So instead, I'm just going to finish it by going in and pulling my thread all the way through, and then it's ended. So you don't end with a hoop.
Oh,
So yeah, that's it.
cool.
We made a little bit of progress on our floral scenes here.
Yeah.
This is turning out cute.
Yeah.
I might finish it
Yeah.
because it is cute.
I like it. Don't know if I'll finish it soon, but
Um,
maybe just work at it a little bit
yeah,
here and there.
yeah. You can did want to show you can so on top of like your
Yep.
satin stitches, you can add more details on top of it.
Oh.
So like the butterfly has some little veins in his wings and it has those little eye dots. So I'm just going to show the little dots. So I'm just going to make maybe I'll do it in only these 3 strands of this. These do tangle easily when you try to separate them, so
Oh,
just be
yeah.
patient with them. Separating bigger strands is harder than just a couple or a shorter strand.
Look at that stem. Look how much progress I have. Not a lot, but that's okay.
But
I
it's
keep
a
losing
start.
my needle. I have too short of a thread.
So I'm gonna
Look
just
at that.
add a couple French knots on top of this. So I am just treating this just like I would a regular piece of fabric.
Okay.
So I'm just stitching right through it,
Oh, I see.
creating my little dots. That first one I made, I wrapped my floss around my needle 3 times, and then these smaller ones, I'm just wrapping it around once. So yeah, you could get a lot of detail on these. You can layer up a lot. You can keep working with it.
I never would have thought of that to like layer it and
Yeah.
go on top of something.
I've
Because I
even
guess I
seen
think of it as more like one dimensional.
mm-hmm. Have you even seen like people will do portraits? Have
Oh,
you seen
wow.
those?
Oh,
Those are
yeah.
crazy, like
The
embroidered
detail.
portraits.
How do
Yeah.
people do that? I don't know. Now, what would you do if you get to this point and I don't have enough
Thread to go back
thread?
in.
Yeah, this is getting too short.
I would go from this side and pull it back through and then knot it over here
Okay.
and the back side.
Maybe I can go through one more time. So I
Yeah.
don't have to pull it out.
Yeah. Right there. So there's some little details on my butterfly wing. I could even add more.
Cute.
These have, like in this pattern, they went around it with another piece of thread, and there's some little veins in there. So you can
Wow.
get very detailed with this.
I don't think mine's gonna be that
This
detailed.
is a very small area to work with, but
Yeah.
yeah, you can go for it.
Cool. All right.
Right. So we hope you maybe picked up a few either new stitches or just how to embroider in the first place. If
Yeah.
you're new to it,
Like me.
um,
Very new.
let us know what stitches you like, what
And
you're
what are you
going
gonna
to
embroider?
embroider.
Yeah. Are you gonna attempt like some flowers like this pattern or something else?
You could even just like add some stitching to a jacket or something. So just to add like a little accent,
Yeah.
something small like that. Um,
Yes.
but that's all we have for you today.
Yeah. We will see you
Next month,
next month. Yeah, we don't have a
next
class
May.
next week.
Yep.
But yeah. If you ever have ideas for a class that you want us to do, let us know.
Hmm.
And yeah, we do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. We'll try it out. We'll learn about it. We'll try it out.
Yeah.
We'll.
We like to learn new things.
Yep.
Try it out. Well, thanks for joining. See
See you
ya.
next time.